And I see over on the Iron Chef side a frightening concept. Their whipped cream dispenser contains the squid puree, and that is the mix of corn syrup, squid, and egg white. Oh, dear Lord, what will come out of that?
Well, we're going to keep an eye on that.
It looks like we've got some sausage of some type cooking in a pan on the Challenger side along with some garlic. I also see the pancetta, which some people call Italian bacon. That's in another pan with a Napa cabbage and some lemon juice. You can see Iron Chef Morimoto, glove in one hand, taking those tubes and cutting them down into strips. You can also see an iced mold over on the Iron Chef side, and that mold is being lined with plastic and that squid mixture, what I can only call, for lack of a better term, squid meringue going into those little molds, and then a strawberry being pushed down on top of that. It's a dessert. It's a squid dessert.
Those lotus root that we're blanching on Morimoto's side are now
in the food processor. Okay, so we've got a lotus root puree. We've got a squid meringue. There's also a pureed mixture coming out of the blender on Chef Donat's side. He's putting that in a piping bag.
Now, this is the one he said was a Morimoto recipe. This had squid, potato,
adaptation
come on, of a Morimoto recipe. Cornstarch, potato, garlic, egg, and squid.
We've got a shot of those hollowed out oranges over on the Iron Chef side. We often see Iron Chef Morimoto marry citrus with seafood.
Those look ready for the miso. Here, let me show you how I want it.
He's now barking some orders, of course in Japanese, to his sous chef Makoto. And Makoto is now adding the miso and yuzu zest mixture to the oranges, just as Morimoto said.
Those desserts that Makoto was working on earlier on the bed of dry ice went into the blast chili.
We can see Chef Donat literally made noodles or long dumplings out of his squid puree, piping that directly into some boiling water. And he's keeping a close watch on those. Nice view of that as he gives those a very quick poaching and gets them out onto a paper towel in a bowl to dry.
We have some mineral water on the Challenger side going into some tempura right now as sous chef Claudio is mixing that up frantically.
And Amy, also on the Challenger side of Kitchen Stadium, now chopping up some olives. Before that, she chopped some of the tomatoes that were stewed in the basil and olive oil. Now, sous chef Claudio has added some diced squid to the pan of Italian sausage. And now those oranges on the Iron Chef side, getting those blanched green onions, have gone into that miso, into orange peels. Now we can see Omai cutting up, I'm not sure what he's cutting up. Exo sauce? Oh, exo sauce, which is made with dried seafood, chilies, garlic, and oil. Very spicy flavor.
Hey, excuse me, did you tell me the time?
Don't get spicy with me, boy. I'll let you know at 30, don't worry. Omai now mixing that exo sauce with the thin strips of Japanese scallions that he cut up earlier. Iron Chef Morimoto coming over for a little taste, seems to approve. The scallions now getting tossed in with a tray of squid strips, so both squid and scallions mixed in with the exo sauce.
Claudia, you got a match? All right.
And more fire.
That worked.
And obviously our cameraman over on the Challenger side is somehow drawn moth-like to the flames. As I look up at the chairman's nodding. He's already calculating the replacement cost on that counter. Iron Chef Morimoto wiping down his board again. Most of what we've seen Morimoto do today is break down squid. He's halfway into the battle. 30 minutes left, Chef Donat.
Okay, thank you.
Halfway through, and the rematch of Iron Chef Morimoto and Challenger Roberto Donat still too close to call.
Come on, guys, come on, guys, come on, guys.
So far, Chef Donat looking very calm, while Iron Chef Morimoto looks to be sweating it out a bit. Quite a contrast from the last time we saw these two men meet. The Iron Chef has mixed some squid strips with Japanese scallions and exo sauce. Oranges have been filled with a white miso mixture, and you saw it here first. Strawberries and squid meringue have been combined to make a frozen squid-like dessert. The Challenger has some squid noodles in and out of the water. Napa cabbage and pancetta are on the stove, and diced squid with Italian sausage are together in a pan and loving it. Tentacles flying everywhere, knives, tubes, great big eyeballs. Iron Chef America will be right back. Welcome back, food fans. This is Iron Chef America Battle Squid, the rematch from the Challenger Chef Donat and Iron Chef Morimoto. Iron Chef Morimoto has seasoned some squid bodies in a bath of sesame paste and seafood stock. The toasted peanut oil is on the stove, and rings of squid bodies have been added to the hollowed-out oranges, and the whole thing is in the convection oven. On the Challenger side, the Bagna Cauda sauce has been blended, and it is in the fridge, and the sauteed cabbage and pancetta is off the stove and standing by. Over on Morimoto's side, we can see at I can only imagine now to be some kind of pasta dough. We can see it coming together. That got that sepia that had been set aside by the Iron Chef.
It's a combination of squid ink, buckwheat flour, XO sauce, and water.
On the challenger side, sous chef Amy with a bowl of tomatoes, olives, and parsley. Some chopped celery now headed into that bowl as well. Looks like some sort of salad in the works. Chef has the red bell pepper off the grill, and he is dicing that nicely. Over on the Iron Chef side, I see some pieces of squid on little skewers. Those pieces are being dipped in a mixture of egg and buckwheat flour in front of the deep fryer, so perhaps some tempura squid in the works here.
Well, Elton,
yes,
Challenger Dona has learned his lesson. He's plated his first dish already. These were these piped out squid noodles in broth with a little parsley garnish. So those are in the little pot here on his side of Kitchen Stadium.
Well, he's got 24 minutes remaining in this battle. He's not going to take any chances. I see sous chef Claudio working on a mixture of saffron and olive oil. You can see the bright yellow color that that saffron gives off. I now see the diced red pepper going down on that fancy little spoon. Nice presentation there.
And those squid on skewers have gone in and out of the deep fryer on Morimoto's side of Kitchen Stadium.
Also on the Iron Chef side, I see Omai is done kneading the black pasta, and now some black rice is coming out with sous chef Makoto. That rice went into the steamer right at the top of the battle with some clams, mussels, and squidding, and actually it is the ink that has given that rice its current pigmentation. Speaking of black, Iron Chef Morimoto has some shaved black truffle out on his board. Those pieces are on top of some of those squid bodies. I see more squid being broken down on the challenger side by sous chef Amy. She seems to be saving the tentacles in one bowl and the bodies in the other. We'll keep a lookout for what happens to all those pieces. Okay, now we can see the squid being stuffed by Makoto. He's actually stuffing those tubes with the black rice. You can see he kind of hold it in his fist and then just use the thumb to push in the stuffing. And for that size, that will be a very tender squid.
And the squids were already cooked in sesame paste and stock, which is why they're a bit darker in color.
Okay. Ooh, stuffing also going on over on the challenger side. We can see the piping bag that Claudio has. That bag filled with the fried Napa cabbage and pancetta combo. He's kind of nursing that into the tubes and then taking a toothpick and sealing that squid tube closed. Oh, Iron Chef Morimoto making little rolls. You can see it almost looks like a sushi roll that he's made, but instead of using a nori wrapper, he's got a squid wrapper. Those are the squid pieces that had the black truffle on them. To those, the Iron Chef added tomato, basil, and the pieces of mozzarella cheese we saw Omai working with earlier. Back with the challenger, I see Chef Dona adding some olive oil to a blender.
In that blender, it's a mixture of leek, anchovies, squid, and fish stock.
Iron Chef Morimoto appears to have plated that little squid roll mixture. Behind him, sous chef Omai is adding some anchovy paste to the puree of garlic that was cooked in milk, some butter in that as well. So in fact, both sides now work with a bagna cauda type mixture. Omai now pouring their version into a little black pot.
Those squid skewers are actually look like they're also plated as well.
Okay, so the tempura fried squid is now matched with the bagna cauda on the Iron Chef side. We'll have to wait and see how the challenger plates his version. Speaking of the challenger, sous chef Amy has taken a break from cutting squid and is now chopping up a boiled potato. We see Morimoto now cranking through his squid ink pasta through his pasta machine. He brought a big one. Things bigger than a typewriter.
That bagna cauda mixture is being spooned in by sous chef Claudia into some caviar tins.
Caviar tins. Wow. I wonder if they're using that just as a mold, or they're actually going to use the caviar tins as a serving device. We can now see the challenger's got his little batter gun, and he's piping something into a very narrow-necked little bottle there.
That mixture was a squid and garlic soup.
Okay, so squid and garlic soup. That was the mixture Chef Dona was working in the blender just moments ago. Over on the Iron Chef side, Makoto is rolling that black rice in nori to make almost like a little sushi cup. You see those thin strips of toasted dried seaweed over on the side, the nori, and he's wrapping that around the rice. And that was not in the rice cooker very long, was it? That went
actually went in right at the top of the battle.
Okay, so the black rice used as the stuffing for the squid bodies is now wrapped in nori. Same rice, 2 applications. Some Israeli couscous I just saw coming out over on the challenger side. I just want to mention Israeli couscous. It's kind of like couscous, but it's more like little pearls. I see some broth being added to that, so the couscous being prepared as though it were risotto.
You can see these patties here that Chef Omai is working on. It's a combination of a pureed lotus root, pureed squid, and the cartilage from around the squid's eye. In these patties, which I hear are going to the deep fryer.
We see Morimoto chopping up his pasta dough. He's rolled that, folded it, and is now cutting it into very very, very, very thin noodles. You know, I would be tempted to call those soba noodles, seeing as they are made from buckwheat flour, but of course the black coloring is from the sepia that was added to the dough. And he's tossing those noodles so that they don't stick together. I'm down here looking around the Challenger's station. Amy's now making kind of little skewered squares of squid. Of course, you know, squid is notorious for curling up when you cook it. I also see the stuffed squid with the pancetta and cabbage have gone into a saute pan. Chef Donat has pressed the tortilla into service. You can see him putting the dough right up in the top of the device. And that worm screw is actuated by that handle, and it cranks out of the bottom. Most of the spaghetti that might be on your shelf at home comes out of a machine a lot like this, only a lot bigger and driven by a gosh darn big engine.
15 minutes to go.
Wow, the action is hot and heavy here in Kitchen Stadium between the challenger, Chef Donat, and Iron Chef Morimoto. The Iron Chef has made some black soba noodles, pureed lotus root and squid patties are awaiting a trip to the deep fryer, and a combination of banya cauda sauce and tempura squid is already down on the plate. The challenger also getting some plating done earlier with his squid and garlic soup in a glass bottle, and the small squid noodles and broth in a bowl. Don't touch that remote. Iron Chef America will be right back. Hi, welcome back to Iron Chef America. This is Battle Squid between Iron Chef Morimoto and Challenger Chef Roberto Donat. Let's get caught up, kids. Iron Chef Morimoto has his black soba noodles on the stove. The squid and lotus puree patty is out of the fryer, and several squid are being cut into squares and laid out on a tray. The Challenger Chef Donat has added some squid into his couscous. His pasta is through the extruder and on the stove, and some pieces of squid have been dredged in tempura batter and are in the deep fryer. Now, let's get back to the action on the floor. Over on the Iron Chef side, the plating, that beautiful hollowed out orange. One of those oranges going down next to the squid wrapped black truffle and mozzarella. The pace on both sides really picking up as we see Chef Donat has moved over to the pan of Israeli couscous.
You can see how he's working with those little caviar tins with the banya cauda. He put some diced squid in there, and right now he's finishing that off.
And of course, the caviar is the Israeli couscous, which he's made to look just like caviar.
We also have skewers of squid on Chef Donat's side. Amy was working with pieces of squid, which she skewered onto rosemary stems.
Okay, so now over on the Iron Chef side, we can see those little sushi rolls with the nori around that blackened rice. Is also getting very, very delicate little pieces of squid, almost like flowers, placed down on top of that.
Time.
5 minutes, Chef. 5 minutes. Chef Donat getting his plates out with the white polenta going onto that long, thin plate. There are 3 divots on that plate, so maybe a trio of some type in the works. Last time, plating was a real problem for Chef Donat, so I hope he hasn't made the same mistake twice. And there we see the squid and Italian sausage mixture going down on top of the polenta. We'll have to wait and see what the other items end up being.
We have a huge bowl of pickled ginger on Chef Morimoto's side of Kitchen Stadium, right next to his cutting board.
And I now see the Iron Chef has dropped the fried lotus and squid patty onto a plate with a piece of steamed broccoli upon it. On the Challenger side, Chef Donat has his pasta and squid out of the water, and it's all going down on that tall, curved plate.
Bring me the salad. Bring me the salad.
Chef Donat calling for his salad to be brought to the plating area. I see Iron Chef Morimoto now has a soft-boiled egg out of the immersion circulator. He has cracked the egg open, and the soft-boiled egg yolk now going down next to the deep-fried squid and lotus root patty.
3 minutes.
3 minutes left in this battle, ladies and gentlemen.
3 minutes. We have 3 minutes.
On the Challenger side, sous chef Amy has dropped some squid tentacles into the deep fryer alongside Claudio's deep-fried squid body. I see Morimoto is pulling his black soba noodles out of the water and putting them into a small blue bowl. One of the other bowls has the toasted peanut oil in it. Still nothing going on in the third bowl, but I bet there will be. We see the Challenger sending a little salad to a pastry round that he's now loading up with that salad. He's going to use that as a form for plating, kind of a little stacked salad there. Okay, looking on the Iron Chef side, I see the rolled piece squid that are being shaped like flower petals. Sous Chef Makoto adding some trout roe, those little orange eggs, to the inside of the petals. And they're having to basically slide those individual eggs in like one at a time. It's like surgery. On the Challenger side, stuffed squid with napa cabbage and pancetta filling is going down onto the trio plate. Still one spot to be filled on that plate. Okay, check out what the Iron Chef is doing here. What I was the little squid meringues almost that were foamed out of the whipped cream container, now getting plated. He's actually dropped a little bit of dry ice into that bowl and then added hot water to it so that it's steaming up around it. Of course, not steam, it's sublimating carbon dioxide. Moving back to the Challenger, Chef Donat has spooned some of the salsa verde on that clear plate. If I'm counting right, that is the Challenger's 6th dish. The squid noodles that he adapted from a Morimoto recipe. There's the squid trio, his couscous in the little little caviar tin. The pasta that went through the extruder is in the curved bowl there. He has the squid and garlic soup. Yep, that is 6. Iron Chef Morimoto now deep frying some squid guts in tempura batter.
To go.
1 minute and counting. Back with the challenger, I see the squid and potato salad is going on top of the salsa verde.
I need the fried squid now.
It's frying.
The Iron Chef still working on his plates. His squid stuffed with the black rice going down on that long plate. Some pickled ginger on that plate as well. I now see some of